Hello, everybody. How you all doing? Right, so I did a poll today about whether I should do a video on Paul Thorpe's latest video on his channel. And although at the minute the polling is yes, I'm not going to do a video on my channel about it. I'm just going to talk about it in this live stream. Some of the points and stuff like that. But I'm going to get to that in a bit. Yeah, Jack, that's better. I was only joking, by the way. Right, so first off, I want to get some administration out of the way. So a few nights ago, I did a live stream, and I had a particular person come in. It was Grizzy Daz. But we had a bit of a back and forth. He left a comment on my video, and in that comment on the video, he came across as he regretted donating to the channel. So because of that, and this is purely for transparency, I refunded the donation that he sent to me. As you can see on the screen, I'm just doing this for transparency so everybody knows that I refunded his donation to the channel. I didn't feel right accepting it after what he said, so I've sent him back. All right, that's that out of the way. That's last I'm going to mention that now. That's, as far as I'm concerned, it's over. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for mentioning that. Right, so next up is I'm just going to get all the little bits out of the way before I get into the meat of this live stream. So I don't know if everybody knows, I did a video today about Andrew Lawrence. He did a joke on Twitter, and I'll just show you on the screen. It was this. So he said this: "To be fair, if I was in Liverpool, I'd drive through crowds of people to get the fuck out of there as well." Now, that's fair enough. You know, it's a joke. It's a crash joke. Timing of it, bit off, considering it was the day after everything happened. And a lot of people, and you could tell who the dads were in the comments because they weren't very happy with the comment that he made. Obviously, there was a 6-year-old child that was, I don't know if they're in critical condition, still in hospital when he made this joke. But it was a bit to the bone, really. And don't get me wrong, right? I support his right to say this. I really do. I don't think anybody should get cancelled for saying a joke or for any speech, be arrested for tweets or anything like that. But on the flip side as well, then free speech doesn't come without consequences. So if you make this joke, which are perfectly within your rights to do so, people are going to criticize you for it. And that's a part of free speech as well. Is, you know, your free speech shouldn't come at the expense of others. So, you know, you're allowed to use your free speech, but they're also allowed to use their free speech to challenge what you've said. And that's what a lot of people were doing in the comments. And a lot of people, obviously Andrew Lawrence's fans were coming out and saying, "Oh, you just Karens, you butthurt," and all this kind of stuff. But you've got to think, right, and I'm playing devil's advocate here. What would have happened if, say, Andrew Lawrence had made a similar joke the day after the Southport attack? Now, a lot of people, and I've had this, because I raised this concern in the chat as well of his post, and I said, you know, people came back to me and said, well, you know, it wasn't the same incident. You know, children weren't targeted deliberately like they were in Southport. But to me, that's irrelevant. Children were still hurt in the Liverpool incident. And if anybody had made a joke like that after the Southport incident, everybody would have been out in anger at it. They wouldn't be trying to defend the person who made the joke. And I was just kind of pointing out the hypocrisy that, yeah, nobody was killed or anything like that, thank God, in the incident in Liverpool, but people were still injured. Children were still injured in what happened. And as a father and as a, you know, I've got a daughter myself, it was a bit off. The timing of it was very off. And to be honest with you, it's kind of an own goal for Andrew Lawrence because he's had some of the venues cancel on him. He's basically also given the lefties ammunition against him now to cancel him, to completely cancel him. You know, so was it really the success that he was thinking it was going to be? Yeah, as you can see, it's got 4.9 million views, which is probably why he made the joke, you know, which to get a bit of attention for himself. But it's a bit of an own goal, in my opinion. And this is coming from somebody that out in Iraq, we had a very, very dark sense of humour. It was dark. And you have to have that dark sense of humour when you're out in places like that. But it's knowing when you can go that dark with people around you and when you know it's best off not to go the place. You know your audience, you know the people that are around you. If I can go dark with these people. Like the people I was out in Iraq with, I could go as dark as I wanted because they were just crazy. But when I got back, I knew that I couldn't go do the same sort of humour with my friends that weren't out in Iraq. It's knowing when and where you can do this, to me. I know I'm going on about it, but I just wanted to cover it a little bit. So, yeah, Steve, if you have an incident where there is a pushchair abandoned in the middle of the road and one kid was one of 4 trapped under the car, exactly. This is my point. People are trying to defend the joke. I'm not against comedians pushing the boundaries of comedy and stuff like that. Yeah, that's free speech that has to be done. But there's a time and a place. And the day after the incident wasn't the time or the place to make that joke, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I don't want him to get cancelled because of it. I don't want him to get visited by the police. That's a complete, that's overkill. But then he shouldn't be protected from criticism either. That's the point I'm trying to make. Does that make sense? Do you think I'm overreacting, or does that make sense? It's like, yeah, that's too soon. That's way too soon. Because obviously, if you're the family of those kids in hospital, and I'm not saying they would see this joke, but if you saw that joke, that would piss you off, wouldn't it? It would me. Yeah, it's just about showing a little bit of respect, isn't it? And knowing when and when not to do it. Anyway, I've just got to cover that anyway. You can go dark with your close mates, colleagues, etc. But when we had some brilliant laughs over Princess Diana and even PC Bone, but I'd never published them online. No, exactly. I'll give you an example of some of the dark humour that we had out in Iraq. We came across some, let's just say, badly disfigured ISIS fighters, and one of my friends just like popped out of his mouth, said it looks like a broken transformer. And that was tame compared to some of the stuff. It's like a broken looks like a broken transformer, and obviously. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's all I'm going to say on that subject anyway. So I'm going to go down that again, but yeah. Right, next thing up. Obviously, earlier this week, we had. I'll get to the comments in a bit, guys. I'm just going to get through all this, and I'll get to the comments. Obviously, we had Tommy Robinson was released from prison. Now, at the time, I didn't cover it because it seemed like everybody was covering it. Everybody was doing the same sort of video. They were just playing this his speech when he came out of prison, which was fantastic, by the way. He came out fighting, and all hats off to Tommy and that sort of thing. But yeah, I didn't do a video at the time because I thought it would just be the same content and it'd be boring. Everybody was making the same video, and it was like, I'll let them do it, and I'll just cover it in a live stream or something like I am now. But yeah, it's great Tommy's out. Obviously, it's sad that he's got to yet again face charges. I think it's not far away, is it? Is it like, I think it's next week he's got to go to court again, isn't it? And answer charges for the ridiculous charges of was it causing alarm and distress to those two reporters, and I use that in inverted commas, reporters that followed him and stalked him around where he was with his kids, were taking photos of his kids and his family. And all Tommy said was, I'm going to have a word with you when I get back. I'm going to interview you. I'm going to come to your door and interview you and see how you like it. And apparently they all like threw their toys out the pram, the two reporters, and they didn't like it. So just completely bogus charges, aren't they? 5th of June. There we go. Right, so he's in court on the 5th of June. Thanks, Steve. Right, let's have a look. I saw a comment up here that I want to. Right, this is from Jack. Vindicator, what do you make of the Nigel Farage in the debate he was in against Sunak and Starmer? I didn't see it. I'll be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of what happens in Parliament. I really don't, because it's all just a pantomime. And what does it solve? What does it solve? What does the debate with Starmer, Sunak, and Farage solve? They're all the same. They're all the same to me. They're not going to save the country, any of them. So to me, it's just empty gestures. It's just empty words. Any debate they have means nothing, because they're not going to back it up. They're not going to do what they say they're going to do. So to me, it's pointless. I used to watch Parliament all the time, but not anymore. Not anymore. They weren't reporters. They're perhaps, yeah, paparazzi. They're laughing and shaking their hands after. Yeah, exactly, Bluebell. They're all in the same club. It's all just for our benefit, isn't it? Yeah, but a three-cheek backside is unique. Yeah, exactly. Well, what's happened is all you've got is Reform replacing the Tories as the second cheek in the arse, haven't you? Rupert Lowe keeps referring to Reform, the Tories, and Labour as a uniparty. Doesn't make sense when there's three parties involved. So it's like, yeah, it's like a tri-party, isn't it? It's just a tri-party, but they're all irrelevant. They're all totally irrelevant. That's very true. And what's more interesting is, right, is that Farage got up and said that he's going to get rid of the two-child benefit cap, and yet all the Reform voters are cheering for it, even though it's a Labour policy. It just amazes me. How far will Farage go before they start to realise that he's not the man that he says he is, or do you think they'll just carry on following him regardless? Because at this point, he's basically going to be Labour, let alone the Tories. The way he carries on, and look at it's the people he's absorbed into the party, because it's all about. I think this is like a Sarah poaching policy. This isn't it, because she was pushing it. And you can see that the party is deeply fractured with its policies. It's like, oh, this person came from this party, so they're supporting this policy, so we'll get behind that, even though it completely contradicts everything that Reform was saying about, they just don't make any sense as a party. They don't. I mean, he said that. He said that. Oh yeah, I support it for British people. And it's like, well, if Muslims are born in this country and they're in their little colonies, they're classed as British. So he said, oh, it'll only be for British people, not for the immigrants that come over here and breed too much. He's just weasel words with the guy. He knows full well that he wouldn't be able to enforce a separate policy for Indigenous Brits and exclude immigrants, because what would happen? They just, all the lefties would go to the human rights lawyers and they would take Farage's government to the European Court of Human Rights. They'd win, and then he'd have to do it. But Farage wouldn't care because he's expecting that anyway. He knows it's not enforceable. I had people on X yesterday coming up to me in the comments saying, "Well, didn't he give a fantastic speech?" And it's like in the press conference that he did. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to deny Farage is a great talker. So is Boris Johnson, but that's all they've got. They're just good talkers. There's no substance. There was no how are you actually going to make this work? You know, it's like somebody brought up in the comment sections. He didn't mention how he was going to pay for all this. It's like, are you going to make cuts? What are you going to do? No mention of that. I'm just going to do this. And it doesn't make any sense because there's no substance to anything they say. Nothing. It's just empty words. It means nothing. I mean, how long has it been now? He said that he was going to announce policy for deporting all the illegal immigrants. Not a word. Not a word. Since, now the local elections are over. Nothing. He hasn't announced anything about that. Exactly, Lee. They're not. Reform have ex-Conservatives, Lib Dems, Labour, all in their party. They are the only party for exactly. They're going to be no different. The Reform cultists defending it are stupid. It's a bad policy, just as bad as mass immigration. Yeah. What gets to me though is that we have a party. I don't know what's happening with Ben Nabee's party or Rupert Lowe. You know, apparently Rupert Lowe has been, he's probably going to join the Conservatives. And if Rupert Lowe joins the Conservatives, that's him out of the equation, as far as I'm concerned. Because the minute he joins the Tories, they'll silence him, they'll shut him up, and the power that he has in Parliament now as being an independent will be lost. It'll be lost. I hope he doesn't join the Conservative Party because they're done for. They are over. And at the next general election, Labour is going to be over. Those two parties are dead. They're dead parties walking. They're just going to be irrelevant. I don't think any amount of trying to turn those parties around is worth it now. And what really gets to me is, right, we've got Nick Tenconi with UKIP, and it's a decent party. It's saying all the right things at the minute. And the fact that he goes to street level with the people protesting speaks volumes to me. That means he's willing to risk things and be alternative. And the fact that people just swarm to the Reform Party, because that's what's going to happen. We're going to get reform at the next general election because it'll happen. Maybe it won't have enough to make a full government. It'll have to go into coalition with the Tories. They're all going to be disappointed because nothing's going to get delivered what they promised. And we're going to have a similar situation to what we had with Boris Johnson in 2019, where it was going to be the golden age of Britain, and it just didn't turn out that way, did it? He did nothing. And it's going to be the same with Nigel Farage and the coalition with the Tories. It's going to be the same shit all over again, and we're going to be back to square one, aren't we? That's what's going to happen. Right, so I've talked about that. So let's get back into this a little bit. So Paul Thorpe was talking about activism in his latest video. He was coming out with some criticisms about activism, saying that flash protests don't work, and he didn't agree with them. I just want to point something out, right? Because this is flash protesting done right. Okay, up on the screen that is. That's it, right? Right. So Turning Point UK. So Rushmore people first called a flash demo outside Potter's International Hotel, which houses illegal migrants in Aldershot. This time there was no far left opposition as they weren't local and didn't have the time to bus in their activists. This is flash protesting done correctly. If you're going to do this sort of thing, what I would suggest is know the people that are going to go to the protest. Create a small WhatsApp group, get to know the people before you do it, and then do it. Now, obviously, if you're going to do a bigger protest, don't just announce it a couple of days beforehand, plan it, and yeah, get security, get stewards, and that sort of thing. There's different types of activism to be effective, and this is effective because if you do things like this, what the people at Rushmore did, it doesn't give the far left time to mobilise, and you can get your message out there, and there isn't any trouble because there's no opposition. This is how activism works. And Paul Thorpe saying this sort of, it doesn't work. He always assumes there's going to be violence. Well, if you do it correctly, then there isn't going to be any violence because there'll be nobody there to protest against you. You can get your message out quickly and safely. And that's it. And he was talking about other activism. He was talking about the Great British Strike, which was just a protest, by the way. It wasn't a strike. That name was used to get around certain social media restrictions. They've changed the name now to the Great British Protest. He said that was, I think he was referring to that as being ineffective. It was really effective. That's really effective because what did it do? And I said this in the last time I did a live stream. It splits up the far left's numbers. They have to divide up and tackle multiple protests. So you're dividing them up. When you have a singular protest down in London, you allow them to focus all their numbers on one location. Don't get me wrong. I support Tommy Robinson and that kind of stuff. And he's having another protest. He's having another, sorry, it's not a protest, another rally down in London in September. I fully support him doing it. But I think tactically it's mistaken because what's going to happen again? The far left are going to be able to focus their numbers on one location yet again. And there's a risk of trouble. If you can divide those numbers up when you're doing your protesting, it's tactical. They can't cover every single protest. And that way you're reducing any chance of trouble because they can't get to you in numbers. It's smart. It's a smart way of doing it. Paul Thorpe said activism didn't work, and he's now changed his tune after speaking to James. He had to delay his video after calling James out on it. James is one of Tommy's closest allies. Right. I heard about that. And you know what? The thing I don't appreciate with Paul Thorpe is he calls people who criticise him or disagree with him as trolls and haters. I'm not a troll or a hater. I just disagree with some of the things that he says. And if you're online and you're putting out your opinion online, then I can use my free speech online to criticise it. People can say what they like personally about Paul Thorpe. I've got nothing personal against the guy. I don't know him. So I can't comment on anything that other people comment on. But for me, the way that he talks about activism and stuff like that, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't. I went on Paul's chat and said reform need reform before Rupert was kicked out. He was quick to end my chat time. I've heard that. I've heard that. Paul Thorpe is a coward. When the heat comes on, he bugs out to Spain. You know what, Lee, right? I think I would have had more respect if he hadn't made that grand video saying that he was going to fight and he was going to stay in the country and fight with the English people. If he'd have just turned around and said, look, guys, I'm scared for my family. I've had some trouble getting back through the airport, that kind of thing. I'm going to move my family out to Spain because I don't feel safe in this country anymore. I think I would have had more respect for him if he'd have done that than make this grandiose thing about how he's going to keep fighting in this country. And it did let a lot of people down because they did, with his massive platform of followers, I think they thought he was a legitimate voice in the movement and he was going to, enact change. I think he took on more than he realised. And he realised, yeah, if you say these things, the state is going to come after you. It will come after you, especially if you've got a big following. I agree, he has no idea what he's on about. He flip-flops like Farage 1 minute, he supports reform, then he doesn't. That's another thing as well. Paul Thorpe has to make his mind up now, not late, exactly. He said he was going to step away from politics, making political videos, and then he started making political videos again. And it's like, fair enough, if you want to step away, nobody's going to think any less of you. But, to me, it was like he was doing scorched earth when he was leaving the movement. Like, if I can't do the activism, nobody can. It might not have been that, but that's how it came across to me when he said activism doesn't work. I mean, obviously activism does work. Look at Tommy Robinson. This is another thing that he said in his video as well, where he went on about you've got to stay within the confines of the law. And I agree with him. Regarding common law, not rioting, not doing violence, not looting or anything like that, not setting fire to things, I agree with him. You stay within the law. But there are some circumstances where you have to challenge the law. Look at Tommy Robinson when he defied the court order and released his documentary Silenced. He was breaking the law. He was not within the law of the land, but it was something that needed to be done because the people of this country needed to see that documentary. That's when you have to challenge the law. You have to go beyond the confines of the law and be prepared to risk everything, like Tommy has done. Sometimes you have to challenge the law. And I don't think he understands that. People are talking away in the chat. What's going on in the chat, guys? So look at some of the comments. Let's have a look at this then. I was in Paul Thorpe's live stream last month when he was talking about Reform UK. The second time I spoke to Paul Thorpe when I was calling for an insurrection at number 10 Down Street. He got mad at me for it. I can kind of understand that because that's what he's talking about. You've got to stay within the confines of the law, common law. You must obey common law, which is the law where we all agree with one another that we're not going to go out and rob things from each other, cause violence, and burn places down. I agree with him on that. Causing an insurrection at 10 Downing Street would be a really bad idea. Very bad idea. So I do agree with him on some points, like, yeah, you've got to stay peaceful, you've got to stay calm. But when it comes to things like civil law and where Tommy had to challenge the injunction that basically took away his free speech for no reason. That was purely political, that injunction. It had nothing to do with Tommy saying libelous things about that Syrian boy. That was all about shutting down Tommy Robinson and protecting the state and from being exposed from its corruption. That's what that was all about. That's what needs to be challenged. And that's what Tommy was doing. Right. The way a lot of political content creators are big at reform at the moment makes me think there is something in the offering. For example, first time I've heard Darren Grimes since May 1st. Yeah. Right. I'm going to say this right. I think the councils that Reform have took over, the people that ran for council, the councillors, I think some of them are good. I think they're good. I think they're separate from the parliamentary party that's obviously a bit left wing, in my opinion. They say they're centrist, but they're left wing, in my opinion, and they're totally different from the branches. The branches seem to be right wing, whereas the political party seems to be in the centre ground. And at some point, that is going to cause friction. It already has. We've already had several branches of the Reform Party either shut down by the leadership or they've resigned because they disagree with the policies of the main party. So I think there's a divide there, a distinction between the two that just doesn't mesh. Because I've seen where they are actually going in there, they're shutting down all the diversity, equity and inclusion laws within the council. They've took down the LGBTQ flags and they've put up the St George's Cross and that sort of thing. These are all good things. And, you know, when I see them doing good things, I've got to praise them for it. I just don't agree with the leadership of the Reform Party. I don't think Nigel Farage is a great leader. I don't think Zai Youssef should be chairman. I don't like Richard Tice. I don't like Lee Anderson. I definitely don't like Isabel, whatever her name is, because I always get in trouble when I can't pronounce her name right. She's just a vapid airhead, in my opinion. She's a disgusting human being. She is. Right. All YouTubers are damned if they do and damned if they don't. Yeah. I think what it is, though, you have to be consistent. It's fair enough to change your mind if you've got new information and you've got to change your position on something. But when you keep flip-flopping back and forth on issues, that's when it gets a bit stupid. Dan Morton is a royalist. Enough said. Dan Morton, right, about Dan Morton. I like some of his content, but he's obsessed with Meghan Markle. Absolutely. And what's his face? I can't even remember the names. That's how important they are to me. The royal family. I don't care. The only person that was decent, in my opinion, was the Queen. And when she died, that's when the monarchy should have died, in my opinion. But he's obsessed with Meghan Markle and that sort of thing. I just don't care about them. I don't care. Jeff Taylor's life today, and a recent poll said that the public thought Starmer was a better leader than Farage. Now, Jeff said that a way of saying they're going to change the leader of Reform. They're not going to change the leader of Reform. How can they? There's no mechanism to change them, to change the leadership. And who would it be? Who would take over as leader? Richard Tice? Lee Anderson? It would be a shit show. Rupert Lowe would never go back. Ben Habib would never go back now. My view is the same. I reform. Zaya Youssef bought his position for 20k. Yeah, he did. He did, didn't he? I like Jeff Taylor and his Welsh mate, but you know what annoys me, Lee? They probably aren't, but they come across as patronising. Jeff sometimes comes across because he's reading from a script and he sounds like a robot, and it sounds like he's a children's TV presenter sometimes. The way he talks to his audience, and that's why I don't use scripts. I might f up what I'm saying. I might stutter. I might stammer, but it all comes from it's all fluid. It all comes straight from me. I could never do a script. But Jeff T didn't say what polling group. You see, this is what I mean. With polls, right? Anything to do with public opinion and polls, you can always find another poll that trumps that poll. You can always do it. And I always say this: you've got to remember that sometimes polls aren't designed to reflect public opinion; they're designed to manipulate it. So people think that a certain party is ahead in the polls. So everybody then now gets behind that party because they think they're going to win. It's a lot of it is psychological. A good thing about that was the poll they were doing for Brexit, because the Brexit poll had Remain winning, and then obviously the vote was revealed and it was Leave that won. So a lot of that sometimes is social engineering, that they want to manipulate the public into voting a certain way. So they'll release polls that reflect the way they want the public to think. That's why I don't pay any attention to them. And a lot of people have said, and I agree with this, the only polls you should pay attention to are the ones that are probably, a day or two before the general election. They're the ones you've got to pay attention to. And an even better way of seeing who's going to win the next general election is probably looking at betting shops, because their odds of who's going to win are probably more accurate than any polls that are done. Polls are for confirmation bias, but not just to nudge the public, but to keep the party who's paid for a poll happy. Exactly. Carl Benjamin is closest to your views. Yeah, I like Carl Benjamin. Yeah. Yes, I always use betting office polling. Yeah. Tommy will have his say, yeah, on Farage. Give him time, laugh out loud. After all what he said about him, yeah, I'm just waiting for that. I get it. He's only just come out of prison. He wants to spend time with his family, and I don't think anybody can blame him for that. It was good to see him coming out of prison fighting, but like I said at the time, some of that is going to be for the camera, because he doesn't want people to lose hope. He doesn't want people to see, what really affected him in there, and it will have affected him. He needs to take some time to readjust to being outside again, because he has PTSD. He has PTSD, ADHD, and again, I'll challenge anybody to spend 200 days in a room no bigger than probably your bathroom, and yet he probably had a TV. But you try it, even if you've got a TV and you're locked in that room for 23 hours of the day, you will go stir crazy. So for everybody that was saying he was a grifter and stuff like that, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, what grifter do you know takes the hardest route possible? They don't. Grifters always take the easy route. If Tommy was only doing this to like grift money out of people, he would just be on the side of the far left. because it would be so much easier to do that. It'd be easy just to be pro-Palestine and all that kind of stuff. The state wouldn't be on his back. He could grift all the money he wanted, like the far left are doing, but he doesn't. I've never known a grifter put himself, because what did he say? He's over, what is it, 300,000 in debt because of what the courts have put on him with court costs and stuff like that. Yeah, probably Elon Musk is going to pay that, but it's still a lot of money. I will say this, right, and this goes to this as well. Tommy does need to start pushing back when people lie about him openly on TV, libeling him. He needs to start taking these people to court and doing exactly what they do to him, because he needs to start making examples of some of these people so they don't start calling. I mean, look at that. What was her name? Tomley from GB News, who went on Good Morning Britain and called Tommy a white supremacist. That's an outright lie. That's demonstrably unprovable. You can't prove that. There's not a single person been able to say, yeah, or bring up a single piece of evidence to say that Tommy Robinson is racist. And like he said, if they could, he would be behind bars for it. Vin, did you hear that Marco just did to the censor tyrants left? No, I haven't seen that one. What's that about? Right, I'm going to have a look up here. There's another comment I want to look at, and it's just flown by again. Right, Bluebell, I'm going to have a look at your comment. I found Paul Thorpe's videos on activism a kick in the teeth to Tommy, to be honest. Tommy has been doing it for years and is a lot more intelligent than Thorpe. He's only been speaking for 12 months exactly. So what's this about these tyrants? Right, let's have a look. Any diplomats who censor their people are barred from America. Yeah, I agree with that. There's no evidence for it. It's all been lies about Tommy for years. Definitely not a grifter. He's not a grifter. I mean, who in their right mind would put themselves in a prison with the risk of being killed in solitary confinement for 200 days straight and then put yourself in debt because of court costs and stuff like that? It's just rubbish. They just don't know what they're talking about. Thorpe and Danny's video when they suddenly dumped Tommy and started saying they don't really know him at all, etc., was a kick in the teeth to the movement too. Yeah, something happened. I don't know what it was. I was on Danny Roscoe's live stream. I wasn't on it. I was watching it, and there were people saying that there's something untoward going on. I can't comment on that because obviously I don't have the evidence or anything like that. Anything like that. Vince, cheers for putting me up there. Is that you on the screen? Is that you in on this thing here? I'm not sure. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, don't get me started on that, right? Who's been watching YouTube? You know what I hate on YouTube is these horrible AI commentary videos. And it just annoys me that it's just so lazy. They do these commentaries over like air disasters and stuff like that. It's all AI narrated, and you can tell it's AI narrated because it's a script they've put in, and then when it comes to like doing acronyms and stuff like that, it just spells the acronym out. Oh God, it annoys me. It annoys me so much. He's even said they offered him money to go to their side, but refused because he's a true patriot with the heart of a lion. Yeah, exactly. People put thoughts comment. I thought you hardly knew. I thought you hardly know Tommy. Yeah, I remember you, for the patriot, stay lawful. We got this. People waking up. Exactly. Yeah, it's oh God, the AI videos. I can't watch them. I just can't. I don't like overly scripted videos as well, where people just overly scripted and it just sounds so clinical and there's no emotion in it. I know I'm not the greatest speaker in my videos. You know, I'm constantly making mistakes. Somebody left me a comment ages ago. It was brilliant. It was saying, at first I thought they were having a go because they said, you know, your entire operation is a shoestring operation. Your lighting's awful. Your audio's awful. And it was like, oh God, this is bad. And then they just said, but you're one of the best channels on YouTube. And it was like, well, okay. But I think everything, I say everything from the heart. It comes from my heart. I don't do scripts or anything like I said. It's just straight talking. That's why I called my little live stream straight talking sometimes, because that's all I do. I just say it how it is. And just, it's all natural kind of thing. Yeah, it looks like nobody likes the AI. Yeah, I don't like it at all. What you say is more important than fancy studios. You know what's driving me mad on my videos at the minute is the echo in here. It's so bad, but there's nothing I can do about it for the minute. But once I get some flooring down, it'll go. It'll be fine. Everything's going to get better. Someone from Spain pulled Thorpe up in his comments and his video saying the guard are strict in Spain, and you're in a car making a video as you're an immigrant now living in Spain. Respect the country. Keep it up, mate. Speak common sense. Thank you. That is the Kit Kat advert from the 1980s. You can't sing, you can't dance, you look awful. You go far in the industry. That's it, Steve. Getting heated between Yami and Big Bang Hill. I've heard of that guy. He was criticising Paul Thorpe the other day. I was watching his video. When shall we get Rupert Lowe chanting "Oh Tommy Tommy" in Robertson in Parliament? I don't think that's ever going to happen. Somehow, Jack. Well, what time are we on? Where's the time? Oh, there we go. Right. All right, yeah, for a bit. So, what do you guys think of the content lately? Do you want to see more of my walking about videos? I know a lot of people were complaining that the audio on the GoPro was rubbish, and I agree with them. That's why I stopped doing the morning videos, because people would complain saying they couldn't hear me talk and stuff like that. The phone seems to be okay. What content do you want to see? Do you want to see more videos of me bashing reform? Because they seem to do well, but I try to throw in some different content because I don't want people getting bored or thinking the channel is just a one subject channel, because it's not. I'd rather listen to you than Thorpe. I just unsubbed and I've stopped watching him. I only read the comments and pause the videos. A bit of everything, mate. Yeah, that's what I like to do. I mean, today, I've got a video coming out tomorrow about reform, but today it was about that. That was disgusting. That 92-year-old man in the care home that got an amputated leg. He was in a wheelchair, and all he had was a butter knife. And the police came in and they tasered him, pepper sprayed him, and then beat him with a baton. And apparently, in the video, it actually said that the staff had actually wheeled him into his room. So why didn't the staff just take the knife off him, calm him down, and take the knife off him? Why did they have to get the police involved? What's he going to do? Try and butter them to death? It was pathetic. And apparently, he went into hospital. Then he sadly died a few weeks after. Disgusting. Just keep it new, really, so it isn't boring. I will do. The live streams are the best. It's good. It's good to support each other. It's tough sometimes. Yeah, exactly. Everybody gets talking, everybody gets chatting. I think I'm going to do more live streams eventually. Obviously, once everything's sorted out and my life's back on track again, I can look at getting a proper streaming laptop. So I can get people to come into the live streams. I can't at the minute, but that's what I'm working towards anyway. Right, yeah, it was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Imagine if the old boy was not caught. If he'd have been any other colour, there would have been outrage. Those two police officers would have probably got, several years in prison for what they did to that old man. But because he's the wrong skin colour, and they probably got an activist judge that's very anti-white, that's why they got nothing at all. They didn't even lose their jobs. At the very least, they should have lost their jobs for what they did. Neither do I. Stop watching him. But I've seen other YouTubers calling him out and showing clips of his videos. Yeah, Davey is back. Who's Davey? One day it could be their family member. Exactly. They don't care though. I'm sure Thorpe is a patriot and he wants the best of the country, but he's too focused on money and subs. He needs to be more honest to his subs. And I've seen this with bigger YouTubers as well. They don't talk to their fans as much as they should. I know Paul Thorpe mainly concentrates on his super chats, and that's fair enough. And I can understand why he does that because he does get a lot of people in the chat. But just selecting a random member sometimes that aren't super chats, like what my Tusi does, yeah. With everyone from Love from Scotland. How are you doing, Linda? How are you doing? Right, we've talked about this before, Jack. The British National Party, it died for a reason. It's because it got no support, and that was for good reason. Nobody is going to get behind a party whose members love the Austrian painter because this country has a history with the Austrian painter and not particularly liking him that much. That's why they didn't get much support. So no, we don't need to bring back the British National Party. like the guy who tried ramming the police to escape and was shot. He's being run through the ringer even though not being charged by a left-wing activist. Exactly. And this is the point I brought up, and this is what the left didn't understand with that incident. He was using his car as a weapon. They're all saying, oh, he wasn't armed. Yes, he was armed. If you're in a car and you're trying to ram the police to get away, and your intention is to kill them to get out of the way, you're using your car as a weapon. When I was out in Iraq, the first briefing I ever had was that if anybody tries to run a checkpoint in a car and they're trying to ram it, you are to treat that car as a weapon. In other words, shoot it and stop it being a weapon. So he did nothing wrong. I think there's been a lot of controversy about the Homeland Party. Apparently, it got infiltrated by state agencies, apparently. It's a job for Paul and others. Don't everyone, don't. Exactly. I agree. I don't have any issues with them making money from YouTube. I don't. Not at all. You know, that's down to people's individual choices whether they want to donate or not. If they want to support the channel, that's fair enough. I mean, I do it. I do it. So I'd be hypocritical if I called somebody else out for doing it. You know, eventually, I want to like grow the channel and monetize it, and that is going to open up a whole new area for things for me to do. Like I'll be able to travel the country and do interviews. I mean, 21st. This is what I'm planning to do. 21st of June, I'm going to Nottingham, where Nick Tenconi is going to be for his protest, and I'm going to try and cover that for the channel. I think that'd be exciting. I think I'll probably get more out of that than I would covering the far left gala thing that I did where I got my phone nicked. Because it'd be interesting to me if I could like interview him, meet him. I'm sure he'd be open to talking. You know, put some of my questions to him. That'd be interesting. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I like being. I don't want to be this person that's just always behind the computer making videos. I want to be out and about and doing it as well. That's the plan. I think most YouTubers grift, but when it becomes too much grifting, then it's a problem. At least Tausi gets out on the streets and faces down Antifa. I respect that. Me too, definitely. And you've got to take in consideration as well that when you go down this path that we're going down, where you're going to be calling out the government, you're going to be calling out the far left, there's a pretty good chance that's going to make you unemployable. And yeah, it's the individual's choice. They're doing it, and I don't think the audience is obligated to subsidise that at all. That's down to the individual, in my opinion. And if people want, like somebody said in the chat, if people want to donate, they donate. But it's not up to the audience to subsidise my life. That's up to me. And you know, the way that I would do it is I would get monetized on YouTube, but probably get demonetized and stuff like that. But there's other ways. There's other ways around it. Yeah, I'm actually using the free version of StreamYard at the minute, hence the StreamYard logo in the top corner. I get so many hours a month. I think I get 4 hours a month of live streaming time. So if you use it carefully, you can use it for free. Obviously, there's certain features I can't use. I can't use some of it. I wouldn't use anyway. But yeah, Hey Isabel, how you doing? Yep, you caught my live. Nice one, thank you. Patriotic Alternative is a great movement led by Mark Collette. Well, I'll have to agree to disagree on that one. I'm not going to go into that, but yeah, I disagree with you on that one. Right, Jack. Comments like this, mate, will get you into trouble. Yeah? Yeah, to be honest with you, StreamYard is extortionate, the prices they charge. I was looking at actually doing, because you can upload a video to play before your live stream starts. And it was something like 50 quid extra. It's like, I'm not paying that. Not paying that just to put a little video in front of my live stream. I think if you go for the full package for StreamYard, it's something like 200 quid. It's a lot of money. It's like that's further down the line. That's if my channel grows, that sort of thing. For the minute, this is all right. See comments. Right. So let's have a think about subjects. What subjects would you like me to cover on my channel? Video subjects. Because I'm always looking for things to cover. I scour like Twitter because there's some really good stories on Twitter. But if you guys want something covering, I'll do that as well. I'm not going to read that comment out. I'm just going to let everybody just look at it. To be honest, Lee, if I said the things that I thought should happen, I'd probably be in the cell next to Tommy. And I have to like keep my powder dry and just like keep it to myself, but something along those lines there. It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it, when we have to say things like when we have to warn people about comments and stuff. It shouldn't be like that in this country. I'm sad that it's got that way, that yeah, we have to be careful what we say now in comments because we could get, who knows, the law on this is so nebulous now and it's deliberate. This is deliberate. This is deliberately done to make people think twice about what they post because they might get a knock on the door. Because there's no standard now of what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. Literally anything you say on the internet can get you a knock on the door now. That's the place we're at. And when Starmer said that in the Oval Office, when he said, "Well, Britain has had free speech for a long time," it's like, no, we haven't. We haven't had free speech in a very long time. We've not had a free press in a very long time. We've not had democracy in a very long time. We do storm at the ballot box. Yeah, that's guaranteed. The Labour Party are finished at the next general election. I don't think Starmer's going to be in power too much longer. I don't think he's going to be leader of the Labour Party because there's controversy after controversy after controversy, and they've got their knives out. People think that the Labour Party is a very cohesive party. It's not. There are different activist groups within the party itself and within Parliament, and they're all baying for power. and they've seen the blood in the water with Starmer. Angela Rayner, she's there's been some rumours that she's actually orchestrating his demise, Starmer's demise, so she can take over. And if Angela Rayner takes over, the country is doomed. We think it's bad now. If that thick ginger growler gets into power, the country is screwed. And that's a good thing, because that means the Labour Party will collapse all that sooner, and we'll probably get a general election. If we'd have actually got a free press, right? All these controversies, all these scandals that Starmer's been having, if we'd have got a free press, say this was the 80s or the 90s, this Labour government would have been finished months ago before it even started. But we don't have a free press. We don't have any free press to hold power to account. We don't. It's all down to citizen journalists. I'm enjoying all the current content you're doing already. I no longer follow many channels anymore, but always check out your commentary and videos to know what's going on. You're great. Thank you. Thanks, Isabel. Yeah, that's the trouble. We just don't have anybody to keep power to account anymore. The biggest threat to 2029 is Patriots Party versus Marxism Islam. Yeah, I agree with Dino Bain on this one. And I don't know if anybody who actually subscribed to it, I'm guessing many of you are, go and check out Dino Bain's channel. He's having the same issues that I was having a few months ago. He's being shadow banned. So if you're not subscribed to him and you haven't clicked that little bell, make sure you click that bell, because I've noticed lately that some of his videos just aren't popping up in my feed. I have to go to his channel and check him out. I think the shadow ban him again. I had that months. I Googled my channel and it just wasn't in any search at all. But yeah, go check him out. Go and sub to him if you're not sub to him already. To Ruvin, it's such a shame. Something has to radically change. Definitely. I love Dino Bain on my feed. His vids are epic. Yeah, he is. He's just great. As I can see Corbyn uniting with the independent jihadists. Yeah, that's going to happen. You watch the vote, the Islamic vote for Labour at the next general election is going to collapse. All these people they're bringing into the country aren't going to vote for them. They're going to vote for these independent Islamist parties, and Labour is going to tank. Their vote is going to collapse, just like the Tories' vote collapsed at the last general election. And then you watch how quick their attitude changes towards Islam. Dan O'Bain is great. He is. He's awesome. The UK and its people deserve much better than all the political parties we have now. Vignette. I mean, I keep bringing this up. Look at what we've got in Parliament. We've got one MP, Rupert Lowe, speaking for all of us at the minute. And I hope to God that he doesn't join the Conservative Party. I really hope he doesn't. I think that would be a big mistake. And Ben Habib needs to get his finger out and launch this party, get it done. I keep saying this. UKIP needs to rebrand or partially rebrand. I know they can't change their name because people wouldn't know who they were and it'd be like starting from scratch. But they need to get rid of that purple pound flag that Farage came up with and just do a partial rebrand of themselves. Yeah, I know many Scottish people really don't like the Scottish National Party at all. And I never understood this, right? I could understand Scottish independence. I understand why they would want that. But then for the SNP to turn around and say, we want to join the European Union. So you want to have independence from the UK, but now you want to be part of the European Union, where you'd lose your independence again. That never made any sense to me. I think we already covered this. I loved your appearance on 2CTV. That was amazing. Scooby Patchy Doo. I think Rupert Lowe is having lunch with Jenrick because Jenrick knows the Tories are finished, but he won't replace Bednock. Yeah, there needs to be a leadership challenge because she's just shockingly bad, isn't she? Right, guys, I'm on 1 hour 12, so I've run out of things to say. That's the only thing when I can't have people coming to the live stream at the minute. Hang on a minute, we'll just deal with this, right? Where does all the donations Tommy gets go? They go to his legal fund. That's where they go. So I want to address this, right? Because I addressed this first off, and people have heard me talk about this, right? You keep calling Tommy a grifter, right? So what's your logic behind that, Scooby Patchy Doo? What's your logic behind that? Don't you think it'd be much easier if to be a grifter to take the easy route and not spend, 7 months in prison, in solitary confinement, in a prison with jihadist gangs, where if they find and get to you, they will kill you? Do you think that's a logical way to grift? I just want to know. Yeah, but you're laughing, but then you're not offering any proof up that it isn't going to his legal fund, are you? Where's your evidence to say that it's not going to his legal fund? If you are going to assert things without evidence, I can dismiss it without evidence. I can just say, no, you're wrong, can't I? So where is your evidence that Tommy is a grifter and that the money he gets isn't going to his legal fund? I'd love to see it. Well, then I suggest you make a video showing your evidence and I will review it and I will have a look at it on my channel. How about that? If you've got the evidence, you show it. Okay? Rupert will form a new patriot movement. Many reform members will jump ship. Yeah, this is what I predicted as well, right? You know, all those disgruntled branches that are within the Reform Party at the minute. The minute Rupert Lowe or Ben Habib form a party, hopefully they'll do it together. Those branches are going to defect. The whole branches are going to defect to that new party because they're disillusioned with what the Reform Party has become. I can see that happening. So, Scooby Patchy Doo, where's your evidence? I mean, if you've got links to it, post the links in the chat and we'll have a look. But if you're just asserting things without any evidence, then it's not true, is it? Yeah, I don't give out my email address. There's no way I'm giving out an email address. Well, just post them here. Just post your facts here. That's all you've got to do. Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying, Linda, but I just want to see his evidence, because the way you deal with these people is you challenge them, and when they can't present their evidence, they look like idiots. Does excellent. I'd love to see your recept, but seriously, how much do you think the hourly rate is for lawyers? Any lawyers? And let's not forget that this isn't just going to your local magistrate's court. Tommy's had to get a barrister. These are high court cases. These aren't your regular court cases where you go to the magistrate's court. He's pled guilty once, and that's because he was guilty under the law of contempt of court. He admitted that, even though the reason why he was given that injunction was probably political. He pleaded guilty. He hasn't pleaded guilty to any other charges apart from that one. Heads up everyone, alert, watched a video earlier. Angela Rain and the Treasury are going after the 60s and their housing benefit. Going to give them 28 days to find somewhere else to get to live. After that says what? You know, nothing would surprise me anymore. Nope, they're not cheap. Not at all. I mean, Tommy came out and he said that it was like it was getting bills for like 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, and it all added up to about £300,000 in legal costs. Yeah, all he has to do is make a video or drop the links in the chat so we can check them out and we can have a look for ourselves. You know, if you're going to come in and make accusations and say, I've got evidence, then show it. Best thing for him to do is to make a video of his evidence, presenting his evidence. I can go over it and I'll make a video looking at the evidence. You probably don't think the Tate brothers are wrong uns. I've got my issues with the Tate brothers. Definitely. There's no smoke without fire. There's something going on there. But then again, that was said about Tommy Robinson as well, wasn't it? I don't agree with their views on Islam and stuff like that. Obviously not. Vin, have you ever linked up with an American podcaster, bang heads together on ideas? I am actually. I don't think many Americans actually watch my channel because I mainly talk about British politics and stuff. I don't really talk about American stuff because I don't know that much about it. But yeah. Yeah, me too. You're not going to agree with everybody all the time. Many of you aren't going to agree with me all the time. But yeah, Wolf on Twitter today was talking about how she wanted Rupert Lowe to be shadow foreign secretary for the Conservative Party. It's like, no, that's a bad idea. The Tories are done. Can we all just agree here and now that the Tories are done? They were even thinking about bringing Boris Johnson back. That's how desperate they are. And apparently they abandoned that option when several Tory MPs said they'd resign if he came back. Nobody's saying you can't. But if you're going to question, if you're going to make accusations and say that the donations that he gets aren't going to his legal fund, then you have to back that up with evidence. That's not you challenging his morals or his ideas. That's you challenging factual things about him. Nobody's saying you can't challenge his position or his political stance or anything like that. But the things you said earlier in the chat, you were saying that the money he was getting for his legal fund wasn't going to the legal fund. That's something entirely different. That's not challenging his morals. That's saying something about his character and saying that he's doing something illegal, probably libelous. So you have to have some evidence to back up what you're saying. That's the point. Scooby Patchy Doo. Right, I think that's about it. So thanks for watching, everybody. I think everybody's getting tired. I'm getting tired now. It's like time to go to bed. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I shall see you in the next live stream or the next video. So I shall see you all soon. Well, I'll just put this up on the screen just to lawyers charge approximately £200 per hour, and that's for a lawyer. Civil court demand 5,000 up front, or don't take your case. No legal aid for Indigenous people. That was legal fees for divorce. So that kind of shows you what you're going to pay out. Scooby Patchy Doo, I'm sure he takes some money for himself. He's got to. Of course he's got to. I mean, obviously he's got Urban Scoop and other things, but apart from that, the state's pretty much made sure that he's unemployable, that he can't earn a living. So yeah, he's going to rely on some of the donations. How else is he going to live? Would you think Tommy would take a lengthy prison sentence for donations? Exactly. The logic is flawed. He's not going to do that, is he? Thanks as well, Kate. Hit like on your way out. Bye-bye. See everybody. Right, I'm going to end the stream now. Good night, guys. Have a good night. Sweet dreams and all that kind of stuff. And I shall see